Oke, jadi netralnews.com juga sangat aktif mempromosikan kepentingan dan kebutuhan UMKM di Indonesia dengan mengadakan berbagai acara dan webinar seperti acara kita hari ini. Untuk menjelaskan lebih lanjut, saya ingin memanggil Bapak Hotma Simatupang, pemimpin umum netralnews.com. Pak Hotma, kami persilakan. Tepuk tangan dong.
Selamat pagi dan salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Good morning and warm greetings to all of us. Yang terhormat Bapak Gonaranau Memusos, Konsul Jenderal Kedutaan Besar Republik Filipina. Para pembicara yang hebat dan inspiratif di depan saya. Ada Ibu Elizabeth Furio Perez, Dean Faculty of International Business Management I3L. Bapak Sunar Basuki, Direktur Operasional PT Permodalan Nasional Madani, Ibu Irma Sustika, Women Empowerment Enthusiast, Bapak Karyanto, pelaku jamu digital, kemudian Ibu Elva Septinawati dari PT Kalumi, dan juga kepada Presiden of PWA. Sebagai kita bangsa yang beragama, pertama-tama mari kita panjatkan puji dan syukur kehadirat Tuhan karena kita boleh berkumpul pada hari ini pada webinar dan Bazar UMKM bertema kepoin produk paling dicari Filipina, potensi ekspor UMKM. Kami dari netralnews.com merasa sangat bangga dan terhormat dapat berkolaborasi dengan Philippine Women's Association Indonesia, PWA, untuk menyelenggarakan acara yang luar biasa ini. Acara ini adalah bukti nyata bahwa kolaborasi lintas negara dapat membuka peluang besar, khususnya bagi pelaku UMKM Indonesia. Sebagaimana kita ketahui, Filipina adalah salah satu mitra dagang yang potensial bagi Indonesia. Dengan populasi yang besar dan pasar yang dinamis, Filipina memberikan ruang bagi produk-produk kreatif dan inovatif dari Indonesia untuk berkembang. Namun peluang ini tidak akan maksimal tanpa persiapan yang matang dan pemahaman mendalam tentang kebutuhan pasar di sana atau di Filipina. Hari ini kita beruntung dihadiri para pembicara yang memiliki keahlian dan pengalaman luar biasa di bidangnya. Saya yakin ilmu dan wawasan yang akan dibagikan oleh para narasumber akan menjadi bekal yang sangat berharga bagi pelaku UMKM untuk meningkatkan daya saing dan memperluas jaringan ke pasar internasional, khususnya Filipina. Terakhir, saya ingin mengucapkan terima kasih pada semua pihak yang telah mendukung terselenggaranya acara ini, baik dari Philippine Women Association Indonesia, Kedutaan Besar Republik Filipina, maupun para narasumber dan peserta serta para sponsor. Dan kami dari netralnews.com selalu berkomitmen dan terbuka untuk berkolaborasi pada kegiatan seperti ini guna meningkatkan daya saing UMKM Indonesia. Semoga acara ini menjadi langkah awal untuk membawa UMKM Indonesia naik kelas dan terus bersinar di kancah global. Selamat mengikuti acara ini. Semoga memberikan manfaat yang besar untuk kita semua. Terima kasih. Muli, maraming salamat at mabuhay tayong lahat.
Oke, terima kasih banyak Bapak Hotma dengan speech yang bagus ya. Terima kasih. Sheshe nih Pak. Asik. Ya kan namanya orang Cina ya, orang Filipin yang kawin sama orang Indonesia. Hebat dong. Hebat. Okay. So, for our next speaker, we would like to call As you know, the Philippines and Indonesia have always been the best of friends in the Southeast Asian region. This is due to 75 years of friendship and diplomatic relations between our countries. Na makanya, saya nikah sama orang Betawi. Soalnya udah 75 tahun kita berkawin gitu loh. For this reason, the Embassy of the Republic of the... Udah diem lu. Udah diem lu. For this reason, the Embassy of the Republic of the Philippines in Indonesia has extended its all-out support to make this important event happen. And we are very thankful to the Philippine Embassy for helping us make this event possible. Now, I would like to call our beloved Consul General, Bapak Gonaranao B. Musor. Kami persilakan, Pak.
Thank you, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Gonar Musar. I'm the Consul General here at the Philippine Embassy. I wish I could speak in Bahasa. I just arrived last May, so I'm still learning my Bahasa. So if you don't mind, I'll just deliver my short remarks in English. So salamat pagi, magandang umaga, good morning. Welcome everyone to here at the Philippine Embassy in Jakarta, and we are honored to host this worthwhile event today, and also at the same time the webinar that is being concurrently conducted. So the embassy conveys its appreciation to the Philippine Women's Association in Indonesia, together with neutralnews.com, for spearheading this event. We would also like to acknowledge the following groups for making this event possible. PT Permodalan Nasional Madani, BRI, Garuda Indonesia, Citylink, Jakarta Heart Hospital, Alphamart, and Alenahos Spa. Micro to small and medium enterprises, or MISMEs, are essential to the economic growth of a country. And therefore, we need to recognize its contributions to our respective countries. So here in Indonesia, MISMEs absorb up to 97% of its total workforce. And in the Philippines, MISMEs comprise 99% of business establishments in the country. ASEAN figures further shows that the MISMEs sector of member countries comprise about 97% of business establishments in the region, and 48%. They contribute for 48% of the GDP on average. Of this, Indonesia reported 64.5% as women entrepreneurs, with the Philippines exhibiting a similar pattern, having 60% of total MISMEs operating that are led by women. So we're really glad that the focus of this event actually is really to promote womenpreneurs. And in fact, I would also like to add that we are also celebrating actually the 18-day campaign to end violence against women. And you may ask, what's the connection between violence against women and promoting womenpreneurs? Actually, one form of violence against women is what we call economic abuse. So sometimes during relationships, the partners of women may use money or the economic aspect to exploit, to sabotage, and basically to exert power over women. I'm sure many of you have heard of women who are being abused by their partners, not necessarily physically, but sometimes through financially. So that's why it's very, very important that we are able to empower women. And one way of doing that is to, make them take control of their finances by encouraging them to be womenpreneurs. So hopefully with this event, through our listeners here and also those joining us virtually, would be able to see the value of women taking hold of their economic power. And hopefully, as we have more and more womenpreneurs contributing to our economy, we hope that this will encourage a whole new generation of women who are empowered and women who are actively contributing to the economies of both the Philippines and Indonesia. Here at the embassy, as we celebrate 75 years of friendship between our countries, we're hoping that more MIS or micro to small medium enterprises would also explore the Philippines as an additional market. We have actually passed many laws that allows foreign investors to make it easier for them to invest in the Philippines. So hopefully with this activity, we hope that we are able to encourage you to visit the Philippines and invest there. And hopefully we will have more female Indonesians who are not just taking control of their lives, but also actively contributing to their economy and furthering and strengthening economic relations between the Philippines and Indonesia. So maraming salamat po. Terima kasih.
Okay, so right now, sekarang ibu-ibu, bapak-bapak, jadi kita mau berterima kasih juga sama sponsor kita, Permodalan Nasional Madani PNM, Bank Rakyat Indonesia BRI, Garuda Indonesia, Citylink, RS Jantung Jakarta atau Jakarta Heart Center, Alfamart, dan Alena Host Spa. Nanti bapak-bapak, ibu-ibu ada grand prize ya. Grand prize kita adalah 2 tiket Citylink. Jadi terima kasih Citylink. Terima kasih banyak. Mudah-mudahan saya yang diambil nama saya ya. Enggak ya? Enggak ikut MC-nya. Waduh. Ya udah, yang Garuda aja ya, nggak apa-apa. Oke, silakan.
Indonesia, known as the world's largest archipelago, comprising over 17,000 islands, with enormous number of traditions and cultural practices, with more than 273 millions of people who live upon it. During the pandemic of COVID-19, the transformation must be done as a way to preserve both life and economy sustainability. Through Permodalan Nasional Madani, the government supports people with an accessible financial support with programs called Mekar and ULAM. PAN never ceased to support and assist for those who are feeling hopeless and encouraging them with a business capacity development starting from ultra micros to MSME. PAN Mekar is a group-based business financing services to underprivileged women of ultra micro businesses, accompanied by business assistance and training. It enables underprivileged women to have a productive business, also for they who are willing to start one, educates business mindset values including honesty, discipline, and hard work, increasing harmony, kinship, and mutual cooperation. Moreover, also helps the customers to instills a great saving habit. PAN Mekar consists of 10 to 30 members of underprivileged women in a group, in order to have a productive loan and saving habit from 2 million until 10 million. PAN providing business assistance and guidance to the customers through capacity building development services. Mekar generate these benefits such intellectual capital through a capacity building program, financial capital through financial lending, and social capital through weekly group meetings. With all the digitalization's development, the account officers of PAM are always prepared to serve all the customers all over the country. Reducing the poverty, increasing the daily income of the underprivileged families, PAM will keep growing and driving the wheels of the national economy. And now, partnering with Indonesia's Ultra Micro Holdings, PAM is always prepared to synergize and strengthen the support and give hope to tens of millions ultra micro entrepreneurs throughout the country. Her model in Nasional Madani, nurturing, caring, inspiring.
Oke, sekali lagi kita terima kasih sama sponsor-sponsor kita dan apalagi ada Garuda Indonesia juga. Nah, gara-gara Garuda Indonesia itu saya mau pantun. Boleh nggak Bapak Ibu? Boleh, oke. Soalnya apa? It's all about the pesawat. Asik. Ada pesawat menabrak burung. Tetap aman, masih bisa terbang. Siap berangkat buku warung, melayani semua tamu yang datang. Asik. Emang saya udah orang Indonesia ya, saya belajar pantun-pantun gitu loh. Oke, sekali lagi kita berterima kasih sama sponsor kita Permodalan Nasional Madani, Bank Rakyat Indonesia atau BRI, Garuda Indonesia, Citylink, RS Jantung Jakarta, Alfamart, Alena Host Spa, dan beberapa UMKM juga yang berhadir hari ini. Camilan Mayaya, kalau yang suka mau ngopi silakan ke Bru Nusantara. Dan ada juga Putri Kalimaya Recipes. Oke. Oke, terima kasih semuanya. Sebelum kita melanjutkan seminar, kami ingin menggunakan kesempatan ini untuk mengumumkan kehadiran sebuah buku penting bagi para mahasiswa, baik pria maupun wanita yang ingin belajar tentang keuangan dan manajemen keuangan. Hari ini kami dengan bangga meluncurkan buku Fundamentals of Financial Management yang ditulis oleh seorang profesor Filipina dan wakil presiden PWA saat ini, Dr. Elizabeth Furio Perez. Alat bantu praktis ini memberikan pengenalan yang mudah diakses untuk manajemen keuangan, memberdayakan pengguna untuk mengelola keuangan mereka secara efektif. Alat ini mencakup hal-hal penting dalam penganggaran, menawarkan kerangka kerja untuk alokasi sumber daya dan penentuan prioritas pengeluaran. Alat ini juga membahas manajemen arus kas, membantu pengguna memahami arus masuk dan arus keluar, dan mengeksplorasi rasio keuangan untuk menganalisis kinerja dan mengidentifikasi area yang perlu ditingkatkan. Dengan panduan ini, individu dapat memahami prinsip-prinsip dan strategi keuangan utama. sehingga mereka dapat membuat pilihan keuangan yang tepat dan mencapai tujuan jangka panjang mereka. Oke, sekarang saya ingin mengundang Dr. Elizabeth Furio Perez ke atas panggung. Silakan, Miss Elizabeth Furio Perez. Tepuk tangan. Memiliki pengalaman akademis selama 39 tahun dengan gelar di bidang keuangan dan pengembangan perempuan dari universitas-universitas bergengsi di Filipina dan Belanda. Beliau berkomitmen untuk memastikan kualitas akademis dan mempromosikan pendidikan berkualitas tinggi bidang kewirausahaan dan manajemen bisnis. Minat penelitiannya meliputi studi wanita, bisnis dan manajemen, serta usaha kecil dan menengah. Oke, nah jadi kita mau invite dulu ya untuk foto-foto Bapak Ibu ya. Mungkin kita invite semua speakersnya Bapak, Bapak-Bapak, Konsul, Miss Rose. Oke, silakan. Kita mau photoshoot dulu ya. Habis photoshoot sama speaker, of course, kita mau photoshoot juga sama bapak-bapak dan ibu-ibu. Yes, kalau Bapak Ibu mau beli bukunya si Ibu Elizabeth, itu dijual juga di Amazon.com. Dan hari ini kalau nggak salah si Ibu juga bawa beberapa buku yang bisa dijual. Yang interested, yang menarik mengenai financial. Saya enggak. Oke. Oke, mungkin foto satu lagi yang udah ikut bareng sama semua orang-orang di dalam hall ini. Boleh Bapak? Oke. Nah, semua speakers kita mungkin berdiri di sini. Yes. Biar kelihatan semuanya. Berdiri aja Bapak-bapak, Ibu-ibu, biar kelihatan cantik dan gantengnya hari ini. Oke. Senyum manis. Oh ya, speakernya agak nunduk. Oh, saya juga dong, ikut dong. Masa nggak ikut saya? Oke, terima kasih semuanya untuk foto-foto. Congratulations, Madam Beth Furio Perez for the book launching. Sekali lagi, kalau ada yang mau beli hari ini, Fundamentals of Financial Management, ini lagi dijual hari ini sama Ibu Beth. Kalau mau beli juga bisa di Amazon.com. Kita sudah udah punya QR dan sudah juga punya BCA. Oke. Wah, saya beneran ini ya. Menjual Fundamentals of Financial Management. Pinter. Okay. Now, finally, the moment we have been waiting for, the seminar and bazaar. Today, we are very fortunate to have outstanding speakers from the academe dan praktisi-praktisi dan pakar-pakar UKM yang akan memberi pelatihan dan perspektif-perspektif soal financial literacy. Bagaimana membangun dan mengelola usaha, bagaimana membentuk pasar ekspor khususnya ke Filipina dan lain-lain. Sebagai pembicara pertama yang akan membahas financial literacy, Kami persilakan Dr. Elizabeth Furio Perez. Silakan Ibu. Tepuk tangan dong. Yeah.
Salamat pagi, Bapak Ibu. Ah, I wish I can speak in Bahasa, but I will try my best to speak slowly. And in case you have some questions, we have Jamie to to answer your question, to translate. Yeah. Okay. So today, my role is to try to bridge and link the women entrepreneurship and the financial literacy. So just to start with the wow moments, next slide, please. I just would like to show you how powerful women are. So in the screen, you will see that 7 Filipinas out of 100 top in the world are positioning in the landscape of leadership. So maybe for some Filipinos, maybe they're familiar with the family names or the companies that are listed in here. For example, we have the Globe or GCash, from which is being led or headed by Martha Zazon, and then we also have the Robina Gokongwei from the Robinson Holdings, and we have Shell Philippines. We have Shell here, right? So in the Philippines, the CEO is a woman, and we also have the Ayala Land being head also by another woman, and yeah, we have Mega World and Philinvest Development. So some of them maybe they got the position because it's family business generation. Maybe they are in the 3rd generation or 4th generation. But some of them also, they are started from they are what we call rose from the rank. Yeah. So now these are the women in business in a corporate world. However, we also have women entrepreneurs, or we also have women who are trying to shape their own landscape in the business world. Next slide, please. So we have the top women in corporate world. We also have women in entrepreneurship. So who are trying to create their own paths, creating innovative businesses, and contributing to the business growth. Next slide, please. So how to become a woman entrepreneur? So are we qualified? Yes, everyone is qualified to become entrepreneur. Men and women who has the ideas, women and women who have the skills and the interest can become entrepreneur. Do you agree, Bapak Ibu? So if you have the ideas and if you have the skills and you have the means to finance your ideas, you can become an entrepreneur. Yeah, claro? Yeah. Okay. So, for example, during the pandemic, the COVID time, so one of the most affected industries is the entertainment industry, showbiz. So, and a lot of people did not get to work, right? So we have here, I de las Alas actually is a comedian in the Philippines. No? So she's a comedy queen. And because she has no work, she used her passion or hobbies for baking. And then during the pandemic, amidst the pandemic, she was able to establish her own pastries business, and she registered it as the Martinez Pastries. And I'm sure that there are also a lot of similar stories in Indonesia. So amid the pandemic, there's so many businesses that were able to be established.
Masih dulu. Ya, berarti mohon maaf ya. Jadinya kata Dr. Beth, kalau ada niat, ada skillnya, dan pasti harus punya modal, bisa menjadi seorang entrepreneur. Benar atau enggak? Ya, berarti pas pandemi kan itu yang ditunjukin sama Dr. Beth adalah artis waktu di Filipina, namanya Aya de las Alas. Pas pandemi karena nggak ada kerjaan, dia menjadi pengusaha untuk jualan makanan. Pasti semua ibu-ibu di sini ya kebanyakan pas pandemi kita menjadi seorang koki ya. Nah, gitu. Jadinya kita pekerjaan apa aja yang kerja di kantor, di bank, di mana aja menjadi koki. Kita semua menjadi chef, pintar chef ya. Gitu. Itu aja. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Evelyn. Yeah, you just stay there. So let's look at the data from the Department of Trade and Industry in the Philippines. It says that over 300,000 businesses in the Philippines are owned by women.
Okay, berarti tahun 2023, 300,000 usaha di Philippines at adalah pemiliknya perempuan. Hehe, kuat. Womenpreneur ya, 300,000 usaha.
And let's look at the Indonesia. Women-owned businesses in Indonesia are estimated to employ around 13 million people and contribute about 9% of the country's GDP, right? Great women.
Okay,
of
kalau
Indonesia.
Indonesia, usaha-usaha yang dimiliki seorang perempuan ada 13 miliar
13 million.
miliar yang bekerja di sono. Jadinya 9% GDP global entrepreneur. Saya nggak tahu, ada yang ngerti nggak? Global Entrepreneurship Monitor. Pokoknya banyak usaha yang dimiliki seorang perempuan ada 13 million karyawannya.
Okay, so
Maaf ya, seorang Filipin juga nikah sama orang Sunda. Eto, udah 13 tahun di Indonesia, udah punya 2 putra. Mohon maaf ya, kalau kacau juga bahasa Indonesia.
So there's no doubt that the women, actually we women, are contributing significantly in the growth of the economy. Next slide, please. So to continue, like with the data, women-owned businesses have been increasing steadily, with women representing 1/3 of all business owners worldwide. And maybe we can and Indonesia, look here, the data is showing you that almost 53% of micro enterprises are operated by women. And the percentage of women entrepreneurs stands at 21%. This is very surprising data, which is higher than the global average of 8%.
Jadinya di seluruh dunia, 1/3 usahanya dimiliki seorang perempuan. Hebat kan? Di Indonesia sendiri 53% micro enterprise, berarti usaha kecil yang mengoperasikan seorang perempuan, dan entrepreneur perempuan adalah 21%. Itu tingkat di average-nya seluruh dunia 8%. Jadinya sekarang kan dulu kan biasanya harusnya laki yang kerja kan, perempuan di rumah doang. Tapi realitasnya perempuan harus membantu. Mohon maaf ya Bapak. Perempuan harus membantu untuk kehidupan keluarga kita. Jadinya bukan kita kerja doang di kantor, tapi menjadi salah satu pengusaha juga.
Next slide, please. So are you familiar with the women in the slides? Familiar? Okay, but you're familiar. You know Plataran Hotels and Restaurant. So the leader is a woman, as you can see, Ananda Marquez Ado. Ananda, she has a very impressive entrepreneurial skill. You know, she wakes up every day at 6 a.m. and bake her pastries first before she goes to work as CFO, Chief Financial Officer. Because that's what an entrepreneur is like. Okay. And also, you know Sociola? Sociola, the company, makeup, yeah. Sociola, yeah. So, and the top is,
Kalo bahasa Indonesia, Che, Sociola.
so Crisanti Indiana, he's the co-founder of Sociola. And what is surprising here is that, yeah, they built the company in 2014, and this year they're also becoming a unicorn company now. And you know what unicorn company is? This is a startup company which not necessarily registered with the Security and Exchange Commission. However, they were able to reach the business was able to reach the value of $1 billion even without getting registered first, and as a startup company. And this is because the leader is a woman.
Okay. Berarti yang tadi si Bu Anandita Marquez Ado, dia sebagai Chief Financial Officer yang megang keuangan ya di Pelataran Hotels and Resorts. Percaya nggak dia bangun jam 1 pagi? Bangunnya jam 1 pagi untuk bikin pastries-nya. Mungkin ada beberapa. Sorry. No, this one first. Jam 1 pagi sampai jam 6 pagi. Yang lainnya kan anak-anak biasanya jam 1 pagi baru tidur ya. Nah gitu. Kalau si Bu Anandita jam 1 pagi udah bangun, kerja untuk bikin pastry sampai jam 6 pagi. Ya, tapi tetap menjadi sebagai Chief Financial Officer yang megang uang di Pelataran. Kalau yang ibu yang kedua, Crisanti Indiana, dia yang ini yang untuk Sociola ya, itu unicorn na sebagai yung cosmetic untuk dandan-dandan ya, tahun 2014. Dia juga yang membangun perusahaan Sociola. Okay.
And also you have the Cotton Inc. You know this company? So Carlene Darjanto was able to found this in order to compete with the Western companies called H&M and Uniqlo. Okay? So next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, yeah, no, that's okay. All right. So those are, you can say those are for the big companies. But what about if you just want to start like an ole-ole store? Like for example, in the Philippines, we have here Miss Ana Arsolacia. She left her corporate world, no? She left her corporate profession or practice in order to put up her own business called Olet Sari-Sari Store. Sounds like ole-ole, right? So this in the Philippines, this is called Sari-Sari Store, which is a traditional convenience store in the neighborhood, in the villages, in the community. So that's what she did. And it's during the COVID-19 as well. So she started with 1,000 pesos capital. Now, she's reaching a daily sales of 7,000 pesos. Now, if you do the mathematics, Baba Ibu, 7,000 per day, you multiply it by 30 days, then you get 210,000. Duwara to sa pulibo? 210,000. Yeah. In 1 month, and multiply by 12 months, that will give you 2,520,000. So 2 pesos, no? 2,520,000 pesos. Now, supposing the operating cost is 50% of the 2,520,000, that will still leave you a 1.2 or 1,260,000 net profit. Yeah, is it clear, Papa Ibu? So now, if you want to grow your money more, and you have the entrepreneurial skill, you will think of investing more into different investment. Papa Ibu, in investment, we do not do this. So in investment, we say, do not put all eggs in one basket. So do not put all eggs in one basket. So if I am Ana Arsalosia, maybe half of my net profit, I will expand my business. I will buy more products. Or maybe I will put up a small coffee shop next to my Olet Sari-Sari store. Also, some of my net profit, maybe I will invest in bonds. So in the Philippines, we have the Pag-ibig funds. We have the savings scheme where the Filipinos can invest. I'm sure in Indonesia, you also have it. So maybe some of the parts of the profit, maybe I can put in stocks. So the idea is that your net profit here, clear net profit here, you can still grow your money more if you put in different forms of investment. Do not put all your investment in one type. So do not put all eggs in one basket.
niya. Okay. Si Bu Ana, umur 58 tahun, tahun 2014, keluar dari kantor niya. Terus bikin usaha. Modalnya cuma 1,000 peso, artinya 300,000. 300,000 sekarang buat apaan doang ya? Ya, habis 2 hari. Tapi intinya, kalau mau bikin entrepreneur jangan satu usaha doang. Contohnya ada jualan cemilan-cemilan. Mungkin jual apa lagi? Minuman. Mungkin apa lagi? Ya, buku gitu. ATK. Jangan satu doang. Soalnya kalau yang satu usahanya gak berhasil, harusnya ada satu lagi untuk membantu. Ya, itu yang intinya. Pokoknya, terus setelah yang 300,000 itu, ininya profitnya jadi 7 kali lipat. Bagus kan? Ya, gitu dah.
Okay, next slide, please. So those situation is actually linking you now. We're now in transition to financial literacy, which is a very important arm or support to those who are interested in doing entrepreneurship. Okay, so okay, you can proceed to the next slide, please. Yeah. So another thing, very important thing that we need to know is what is financial net worth? So how much do you worth? Okay. Knowing where you are now personally is very important for you in assessing your capability or ability to do business, even you start from small, right? So financial net worth actually means or is the difference between what you own and what you owe. Yeah. So there, I think the next slide. So is this clear? Is this clear? Can you see this clearly? So we will try to we will try to know where we are now personally. What is our net worth? Yeah. What is our net worth? So you need to know how much do you own and how much do you owe. How much is your is your assets and how much is your liabilities? For example, things that you own, current assets, or this is asset lanchar. Asset lanchar, maybe I can. Asset lanchar, for example, you have cash or you have deposits in the bank, yeah, or deposito berjangka, okay? Or maybe you have asset jangka panjang. So you own asset jangka panjang, or you have saham or other investments. Other investment, maybe you invest in bonds. Okay, and you also have the dana pension. Dana pension is your asset. Also, maybe you have some personal assets like your jewelries, no, perhiasan, or you have your perobotan ruma, you have kendara, you have ruma dan tanah. These are the things that you own, your assets. And then, yeah, you also have to know how much do you owe. What are your financial obligations? So, yeah, maybe you have hutang kartu credit cards, your liabilities. You have hutang pribadi, your private loans. You have pinjaman dari kerabat. You have pinjaman dari pemberi kerja. Or maybe you have long-term liabilities also, like the house and lot, or like the auto loan, no? Automobiles, okay. But if you see that you have a negative network, you do not be afraid. So what is more scary is that you know that what is more scary is you do not know that you are in negative network and you do not do anything about it. Okay, next slide, please. So the thing is, we really need to make our financial goals. Like, for example, what is your goal? Do you want to save for comfortable retirement or for your aging, no? For old age. So you want to save for the children's going to college. You want to save for managing finances to enable a home purchase. You want to buy a ruma in the future, or simply start a business, entrepreneurship. Okay, next. So please remember this, Ibu. Bapa Ibu, do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after savings. Next slide, please. Okay, this formula. So what do you use, Bapa Ibu? Are you in the above formula or in the below formula? So above formula, when you receive your income, you deduct your expenses first, right? And then you save what is excess. But you know, the expenses, this is not controllable, no? This is an uncontrolled variable. So what happens to the babi there? Babi menjadi kurus, yeah, because negative savings, yeah, menjadi kurus. Babi. So what we need to do is to change the formula. Yeah, we have to, when you receive the income, you deduct the savings, and then you leave what is, you just consume what is left with you. Papa Ibu, you know this, especially Ibu, when you go to mall, you always say, saya tidak membeli apapun. But yeah, what happens? You swipe your card left and right. So that's why Babi becomes kurus. Yeah. Okay. So paradigm shift. When you receive your income, save first. Save, and what is left, just you spend or consume based on your expenses, based on the expenses. Okay, claro? Okay, yeah, next slide, please. So, I just want to, this one is just to summarize, no, the benefits of being financially literate. So you, of course, you know to manage your financial better, and you will know where to get the fundings. No, you have a better access to fundings. Maybe you want to apply for loans for the venture capital, and then yeah, you and maybe you can ask capital from your family and friends. Next slide, please. So it's also very important that the same thing that we are doing now is go attend workshops like this. Be educated, no, be informed. Okay, next slide, please. So in conclusion, it's very easy to become an entrepreneur. It's just that you need to have the interest, the ideas. You need to have the entrepreneurial skills. You need to be financially literate, and you become empowered. Okay? Next slide, please. I think that's all on behalf of the Philippine Women's Association. Thank you very much for this opportunity to share with you some information on entrepreneurship and financial literacy. Thank you.
Okay, terima kasih Madam Elizabeth. Wow. Emang itu ya, penting banget ya mengenai keuangan. Saya juga yang dulu pakai old formula. Jadi kalau ada gajian, langsung ke Mr. DIY atau Also Me. Emang gak penting juga tuh, tapi harus beli gitu. Iya. Nah, sekarang bapak-bapak, ibu-ibu kita terima pertanyaan. Satu pertanyaan di dalam, satu pertanyaan juga untuk bapak-bapak, ibu-ibu yang di luar, dan satu pertanyaan untuk online. Asik. Oke, satu pertanyaan yang paling belakang. Ibu, sini. Nah, mikrofonnya ada guys? Mikrofonnya ada? Oh, nggak ada? Oh, Ibu mungkin bisa maju ke depan, biar saya yang itu. Saya yang translate. Oh, ya. Oke, silakan Ibu.
Ya, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Nama saya Wagening Tias, saya UMKM. Biar kelihatan.
Sama online.
Oke. Oke, salam kenal, saya Wagening Tias. Saya punya brand roti bakar dan pasta. Ada beberapa pertanyaan, tapi satu aja biar cepat untuk bagian yang lain. Saya memang akan bertanya dalam bahasa Inggris, tapi mohon nanti ditranslate ke bahasa Indonesia. Biar Ibu langsung tahu. Pertanyaannya adalah, what are the key principle of sustainable that business solve important into the operation? That's it. That's all. Thank you.
Oke, terima kasih Ibu. Mungkin, Ibu ada hadiah juga. Yes. Untuk orang-orang yang mau tanya, silakan ada hadiah juga. Madam Elizabeth, mungkin mau dijawab. I'm sorry, I forgot. I need to speak English with her. And you need to answer the question. Can we repeat the question? Ma'am, can we stand up po? Okay. What are the how to make the business sustainable?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Bapa Ibu, and very challenging as well. So in financing also, especially in financial literacy, the reason why we are bringing it to you so that you'll be able to know where to go when you need your capital, right? So it doesn't have to be a very big bank involved. So some small entrepreneurship, they even put up their own cooperative to be the source of fundings and to help among the members in order to sustain the business in terms of providing additional capital. And also, it's also important to collaborate. You need to collaborate to different industries, for your products. So I3L is very open in collaborating with different businesses, especially with SMEs. We provide them training. This is part of the sustainability also, so that they will be. Are you going to translate? So they will be aware of the trends, trends or the current trends in business. So that's what we can provide, as an educational institution to make your business sustainable.
Okay. Translationnya adalah kok saya keringet ya? Soalnya panjang. Yang saya tangkap Bapak Ibu gini, jadi kalau mau perusahaannya sustainable, kita harus ada beberapa koneksi biar kita bisa kolaborasi sama orang-orang. Nah, jadi harus kita berteman juga sama yang orang kaya, asik. Itu bukan saya. Dan kita berkolaborasi sama mereka. Mungkin sama CV atau PT ya, kita bisa berkolaborasi biar bisnis kita sendiri yang bisa berkembang. Terima kasih. Oke, ada penambahan juga?
Tambahan translation, mungkin kelupaan tadi, menurut Dr. Beth, mungkin financing itu penting. Jadi bisa ke perusahaan financing atau ke bank dan lain-lain, atau bisa juga mengambil opsi ke koperasi. Yang penting ada networknya. Yang ketiga, yang penekanannya Dr. Beth adalah harus didik sendiri. Pendidikan penting. Menjadi pelatihan, hadir seminar atau apa, biar tahu mungkin teknis-teknisnya. Oke, terima kasih.
Yes, penting banget ya pendidikan. Satu lagi yang ada di outdoor, oke? Ibu, ya dipersilakan Ibu. Nah, wow, cantik sekali. Namanya siapa Ibu?
Tan.
Oke, Ibu Intan silakan mau ditanya si Dr. Beth.
Okay, thank you. It's been an honor for me that that I invited here, but I'm outside and it's really heartbreaking that we cannot see the screen. Yeah, I can see the voice, but I cannot see the screen. I'm Intan from SME, and then the product is craft. I made handmade bag. So my question is, what is the most in Philippines that we can produce, that we can maybe export, or maybe there is a business matching for SME from Philippines and Indonesia. That's all. Thank you.
Oke, terima kasih Ibu Intan. Mungkin ada yang mau jawab dari Miss Rose ya? Oke, silakan.
Ya, terima kasih pertanyaannya. Di Filipina itu kita harus pelajarin marketnya. Yang saya kasih tip ya, Filipina itu sangat-sangat alergi kalau mahal produknya. Kasi nggak laku. Itu satu. Makanan ke atau barang ke. Jadi yang orang kaya belinya barang-barang mahal. Tapi yang kita menengah bawah milih sensitif terhadap harga. Apalagi sekarang semua harga barang-barang di Filipina itu mahal sekali. Lebih murah hidup di Indonesia daripada di Filipina. Nanti harus dipikirin apalagi sekarang banyak perubahan, banyak gangguan politik, ekonomi. Kalau business matching, di kedutaan ini ada namanya DTI, Department of Trade and Industry. Mereka terbuka untuk kita approach atau menanyakan kira-kira pada ke apa. Tapi yang selama ini saya lihat ya, baru perusahaan-perusahaan besar yang bisa masuk. Ya, karena perlu permodalan yang lumayan lah. Kecuali kita kirim-kirim dikit-dikit lah gitu. Jadi strategi dulu bagaimana market Filipina coba. Philippines sama Indonesia banyak kesamaan. Jadi kebutuhannya beda-beda, agak-agak mirip. Tapi makanan itu dicari. Makanan. Karena makanan yang unik dari Indonesia. Asal jangan pedas.
Betul sekali.
Ya, ini ide ya. Abon, itu nggak ada di Filipina. Soto ayam, bakso, nggak ada di Filipina.
Soto Betawi.
Donat banyak. Kalau makanan baking, kue, itu bagus di Filipina. Enak. Variasinya. Jadi jangan ke situ. Pasti rugi. Karena apa nih, Jeko aja senang mati di Filipina.
Benar.
Enggak, di Filipina juga banyak. Tapi saya lihat kualitasnya yang berbeda. Di Filipina itu kualitas ekspor. Kalau handicraft, craft. Di Indonesia mungkin kerajinan harus yang unik. Produk-produk dari Bali itu cakap-cakap unik. Itu bisa di situ. Yang satu lagi, di Filipina itu semua dicari. Sampai garam kita import. Jadi, kalau mau eksplorasi lagi, mungkin bisa di-link di Departemen Perdagangan ada di Kedutaan. Ada di sini kok kontaknya. Ya, makasih.
Oke, terima kasih Miss Rose and terima kasih Bu Intan. Dan untuk bapak-bapak, ibu-ibu yang ada di luar, jangan khawatir kalau nggak kelihatan cantik saya dan materi narasumber kita hari ini nanti kita akan share. Yes. Oke, pertanyaan ketiga yang dari online. Yes, hello. Oke, Evi Bisane dari Jakarta Pusat. Ingin bertanya, kira-kira makanan khas Filipina apa yang bisa diminati oleh konsumen Indonesia yang bisa UMKM Indonesia kembangkan agar bisa menghasilkan cuan. Ini udah connected ya dari si Miss Rose. So, the question for Miss Beth is, do I need to translate? Oh, okay. Okay. Miss Rose will be the one answering the question. Silakan, Miss Rose.
Sebagai orang Filipina yang udah tinggal di sini lama, saya bisa mengatakan makanan Indonesia jauh lebih enak dari makanan Filipina. Makanya if you notice, restoran Indonesia, restoran Filipina yang dibangun di sini kurang laku. Kenapa? Kurang bumbu.
Betul.
Kurang, saya aja kalau 3 hari ya udah, setelah itu enggak. Ya, kita ahlinya memasak istilahnya babi. Kalau babi ya, ngetap lah. Ya, tapi kan nggak semua makan. Dan babi di sini keras, kayak udah nenek-nenek babinya gitu, terus masak. Masalahnya itu,
Astagfirullah.
kalau Filipina mungkin belum ya, kalau saya menilai ya. Indomie jauh lebih enak dari sini. Mie, enggak. So, apakah ada yung pengalaman pernah ke Filipina? Ada makanan-makanan yang agak asam. Jadi mungkin ya kurang tepat. Lebih baik makanan Indonesia yang dibawa ke Filipina. Karena ada dan sukses. Masalahnya bumbunya carinya setengah mati. Harus kita pakai box, bawa sendiri tenteng untuk ke Manila. Karena kurang bumbu. Jadi lebih baik eksplorasi itu aja. Bakso, soto ayam, asinan. Khususnya orang Filipina cari yang namanya makanan sehat karena banyak yang kena diabetes gitu. Jadi seperti itu. Tolong pikirin. Dan itu kan dibawa jualannya bisa online. Masalahnya harus ke Filipina kan gimana. Tapi kalau online kan nggak perlu bangun peta segala. Pelan-pelan gitu. Jadi itu sih yang expert opinion saya. Thank you.
Oke, terima kasih lagi Miss Rose. Untuk yang orang-orang tanya di online, nanti admin kita yang akan hubungi untuk hadiahnya. Terima kasih.